This is Puerto Rican Panorama, a program that explores the challenging issues, cultural diversity, and multinational heritage of the Delaware Valley Latino community. And now, here's your host, Diego Castellanos.
Welcome to the show. We have a couple of things that we want to talk about today. We have an interesting program. One of the things is we're going to be talking about the Independent Retail Week that's taking place this week. We'll explain that in just a minute. The reason we've invited Debbie is because, tell me a little bit about this Retailers Week.
Independent Retail Week was created by NOLCHA, a fashion business services organization in New York. And NOLCHA works, as Bel Esprit does, with emerging designers and small businesses. And to support emerging fashion designers, it's important to support the stores that take the chances on these young designers. So NOLCHA created Independent Retail Week to support and celebrate the independent retailers in a city.
So this week, as we speak, we're celebrating Independent Retailer Week.
Right.
Urging people to buy in the city.
Exactly, to support the businesses, because these businesses are invested in their neighborhoods, communities, and in the city. And it is important to the character of the city that these businesses flourish.
And we're going to tell you a little bit more about it. In fact, we're going to have a fashion show showing you some really pretty models and pretty outfits. And when we come back on the next segment, you're watching Puerto Rican Panorama. I'm Diego Castellanos, and today we're telling you about Independent Retail Week in Philadelphia. Not international yet, but maybe someday. Independent Retail Week of Philadelphia, and we want to show you some clothing. And Deborah Pocalos is going to tell you all about it. Deborah?
Okay, for Independent Retail Week, we feature 4 stores in the Philadelphia area with their latest spring fashions. First, we have from Signor at 4390 Main Street in Manayunk. This dress is by the designer True Light. It's a U.S.-based company, but the designer is Brazilian. And the overall trend here is florals are big. And next we have from Nitwit on Walnut Street in Center City, a dress from Haute Hippie. And this is a Moroccan style, and you may sense a theme here that goes along with the Sex and the City movie. And Sex and the City, as always, influences fashion every time it comes on the screen. And so we have another aspect of Sex and the City fashion, a Moroccan-themed and light, airy clothing. And finally, we have from Joan Chef, also on Walnut Street in Center City. This is a dress by Philip Lim. And this also reflects the trend of light, airy, very frothy clothing for spring. Everything is fun. Everything is easy. The jewelry that you see here is all from the store Latitudes Gallery in Manayunk, and Latitudes specializes in very inexpensive but wonderful jewelry for all occasions. So this is some of the fashions that you can see when you stop into the stores during Independent Retail Week. We have about 40 retailers involved, and this is just some of the people who will be having events and special promotions during this week.
Welcome back to Puerto Rican Panorama. I'm Diego Castellanos, and today we are talking about Independent Retail Week in Philadelphia, which is taking place this week, an effort to get people to shop in the stores of the city. And, we are featuring some particular stores that are kind of pushing for this effort. But, our advice to you is not limited to these particular stores. I mean, no one has paid a fee here or to advertise. This is a public service, not commercials. But we're simply suggesting that you, if you haven't shopped in the city for a long time, and we know that some of you haven't, we're suggesting that maybe, you might want to give it a try. The problem is parking in the city.
Well, yes. I'm not familiar with how the city has addressed that, but there are parking garages. But you know what? Independent Retail Week has a sustainability side to it in that you're supporting local businesses and you're supporting the local industry. So with that sustainability is also public transportation. We have a great transit system in this city, so you can get around to all the different locations using the buses and the trains and the services that we have. So we encourage you to
if you understand it, you have to get familiar with it.
Right, but it's
but it's there.
I use public transportation all the time, and I prefer it over driving any day. So I encourage everybody to do that. Not limit yourself because you can't drive and park in the city to come down.
What are some of the retailers that are kind of taking an active participation in
Well, the response in Philadelphia has been absolutely amazing. We have support from the city government. We have support from the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau. And the stores have really rallied around. We focused on 3 neighborhoods, the Old City section into Northern Liberties, Center City, and the Manayunk section, because this is the first time we are doing this in Philadelphia. And the stores have just been overwhelming. We have on the Independent Retail Week website, we have a list of the events that are going on, from everything from cocktail parties. There are more cocktail parties happening this week than and
Before we forget, let's give them that website that you just mentioned.
The website is independentretailweek.com, and you can click on Philadelphia, and you'll have a list of the events that are happening in the city. There's also a downloadable guide that lists the sales and promotions that a lot of the stores are running. And I encourage you to check back frequently, because we have been having stores adding on and calling up and saying, I want to be a part of this, even up to the last minute.
Give us an idea of some of the retailers. What can we expect?
Well, as you saw, we had Senor in Manayunk. This is a local business run by Jackie and Marcos Vargas. They're both, Jackie came here from Puerto Rico when she was 2, and Marcos, his parents, came from Puerto Rico, and he was born and raised in Philadelphia. And this is a wonderful example of a local business. He brought his business here. They have established a tremendous reputation.
What is the product?
They sell very fine Italian suits for men. And they have an impeccable reputation for custom.
A couple from Puerto Rico, and they specialize in Italian suits.
Yes, and they have
go figure. Only in America, right?
They're gorgeous.
Okay.
But then last year they decided that the women who were accompanying their husbands and boyfriends to shop in their store needed something too, so they added women's wear. Okay. So they have a lovely selection of women's wear also.
So and there's others, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me about one or two.
We have 3, as you saw here, we have Latitudes Gallery, Joan Shep, and Nitwit, which are 3 long-standing boutiques in Philadelphia.
Okay.
All 3 of them have been retailers for several decades in the city, and they have become part of the fashion and retail scene in Philadelphia, and they are they're very invested in the city and in their customer base, and these are the people that we want to promote.
I hear the word boutique a lot. Maybe it's because I'm a male and did not grow up in Philadelphia initially. What is a boutique?
Well, in the industry, you have different types of retailers. You have what are called big box stores like Walmart and Kmart. And then you have the department stores like Macy's and Neiman Marcus. And then you have specialty chains, which are smaller stores, but they have a number of doors. And then you have the boutiques. And boutiques are generally, they can have several doors as well, several outlets. But they're generally one store. They're smaller. They're independently owned. They're privately owned. And they specialize in servicing the customers in their immediate neighborhood.
Okay. I think we used to call them, something else. But in Puerto Rico, a botica is a pharmacy.
Oh, really?
It's a drugstore.
Okay.
Yeah. You talked also earlier about a Latitudes Gallery. What is that?
Latitudes Gallery it's kind of interesting. The owner started out as an art gallery, and it has had several changes in product mix, and now it is an accessories and gift shop in Manayunk.
Okay. But of course, we've mentioned a few because we don't have enough time.
That doesn't even top the iceberg of the stores that are involved in this. We have probably about 40 stores throughout the city that are involved.
So the event goes from what day to what day?
It starts June 14th and it runs to the 20th, so it's Monday through Sunday.
Okay.
Ends on Father's Day, so it's a great chance to get some good deals for Dad.
Okay. I thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here.
For sharing that information with us. We're going to close the show.